My name is Mark Keel, and I'm Chief of the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, otherwise known as SLED. For those of y'all in the local media, you know I don't do very many press conferences. I've been Chief of SLED for 12 years, and I've only done 2. The last one I did was in June of 21 to talk about significant violent crime that's just been unprecedented in our state. But today it's important for me to speak out. It's important because of the victims in this case. It's important because Maggie and Paul cannot. I want to make one thing clear to everybody. There are no winners today. I have a truly humbling responsibility as being Chief of SLED. I lead a dedicated and professional group of investigators, forensic scientists, and support personnel. A staff that work day in and day out for days just like today to bring justice for victims. And today is not the end. It's the next step in a long road to justice for every person who has been victimized by Alex Murdagh. Alex Murdagh has now been rightfully found guilty of murdering his wife Maggie and Paul. He was found guilty because he was guilty. And as one of the witnesses said, Paul was a little detective. This case serves notice to anyone who aided or assisted Alex Murdagh in committing any crime that justice will be sought. This was an incredible effort by SLED, our local and federal partners, and our partners at the Attorney General's office. And I want to thank Attorney General Wilson and all of his prosecutors, paralegals, and all of his support personnel as well. They did a fantastic job. The agents and prosecutors who worked this case have sacrificed countless moments from their own families to ensure that a person responsible for the murders of Maggie and Paul was fairly tried and brought to justice. The people who work this case do it because they are called to serve. They do it to bring a voice to the voiceless. And they're dedicated public servants. And for that, I'm grateful. SLED agents have worked tirelessly for the past 21 months to ensure justice was served for Maggie and Paul. It is impossible for most people to understand the countless hours of hard work that went into this case. Time away from families, missed birthdays, missed holidays. And it is all done under constant scrutiny, constant pressure. I want these folks standing behind me and around me to know how incredibly proud I am of them as Chief of SLED. I believe firmly in this criminal justice system that we have. And I believe in the rights of an accused to have a fair trial. That is why I have remained silent from beginning this case until now. Again today, I'm here to provide a voice for Maggie and Paul. I'm here to recognize the heart-wrenching journey that family and friends of Maggie and Paul have endured. And I'm here to support and thank again this incredible team of agents, forensic scientists, support personnel that work at SLED and that worked on this case. Yesterday and today, justice has been served. Thank you.
Have it, the chief of SLED speaking out, saying there are no winners today, and how he had a humbling responsibility dealing with this case. Now, keep in mind that the defense had criticized SLED for their mishandling of this case. So with that being said, Rich, how justified was this press conference for them?
I think it's okay for SLED to come out and take that position. You know, SLED made some mistakes in this investigation, that's clear, but I don't think today is the day to scrutinize that. And I thought, by the way, in the closing argument, in the rebuttal closing argument of the prosecution, they responded to the criticisms of SLED basically by saying Alex Murdagh has a lot of nerve, having lied about his whereabouts on the night of the murders, having misled the investigators for months and months and months, to have the audacity to criticize law enforcement, which as solicitor he used to work with. I thought the prosecutors handled that brilliantly in closing argument. There may be, you know, some thinking about SLED and the investigation here. That may make sense in due course, but not for today. Today is for this verdict and about the victims.
Well, I think he said it just right. I mean, there are no winners in this. At the end of the day, 2 people were murdered. But also at the end of the day, Matt, though, I mean, like I said, they had received so much criticism from the defense. They can sleep a little bit better tonight, no?
Well, yeah, there certainly was, you know, some legitimate concerns that were raised by the defense with regard to the contamination of the crime scene. And you know, again, this was an unusual situation. This was a well-known person, an attorney who, in fact, you think at the very outset of this is a victim himself. His wife and his son were killed. So maybe you're treating him a little differently than you might have treated somebody else that you may have suspected. You know, so there were some issues there, but there weren't enough issues to convince this jury that they had the wrong guy. That the suspect that they had, Alex Murdagh, was the wrong guy. The jury didn't believe that. And in fact, they didn't believe anything, it appears, by the rapid nature of their deliberations. They didn't believe anything that they heard from the defense in this case. So, yeah, I think that they feel some vindication today, and rightfully so.
All right, we're going to hear more from